Hello, my name is Temi, and this is my video 2 tutorial for my UX 606 immersive design course. And in this tutorial, we'll be creating our first immersive application, and this application we're able to launch into this application in virtual reality using my Meta Quest 2. So like every immersive design we do in Unity, we start with our Unity Hub. And our Unity Hub, we're able to come over here to create a new project. And because I know this is a VR project, I will be using a VR template. And this has all the project settings and packages I need to create a VR project. So I just use my VR project template, name my project, and create a new project. Alright, so once you create a new project, this is how our testing will look like. And because we'll be launching this in my VR Meta Quest, I want to make sure my XR plugins are properly set up. So to do that, I need to come over to my project settings and edit. I want to check up on my XR plugin management. This is what allows us to launch in our headsets. So on the XR plugin management, we'll be using the OpenXR today. OpenXR allows us to develop our immersive designs for multiple headsets. So we have our Oculus, HTC, Steam, whatever headset that operates with the OpenXR. So that way we don't have to design like multiple experiences for multiple devices. We just have to create one for multiple devices. But what's very important in this is to make sure you come to your under your XR plugin management, comes under OpenXR. Make sure your device is selected. So now we have our Meta Quest selected here. So this is perfect and there is no errors here. That means I am all set to go. So the next thing I want to do is to create a new scene. Alright, so let's create a basic VR scene and just name it. And so once we're in our scene, what I want to do is to interact with game objects in the scene in VR. But for us to do that, we also need to download our Meta link. This allows us to launch in VR. So this is mine. You just need to set up your Meta account and launch it. And once it's properly launched, you should see your device here. One bottleneck I did notice in this is sometimes it doesn't launch properly, and this could be due to multiple reasons. Sometimes you might need to update your Meta Quest link application, or you need to update your computer's graphic driver, or sometimes you just need to restart your computer. But I have noticed as a bottleneck. Well, one of these three things usually solve it most of the time. Alright, so now that we have our VR scene, let's create our object. I want to be able to interact with this object in our VR scene. Alright, so first off, I want to reset some components. So to do that, let's create our object. So let's create a cube. Alright. And I just want to resize my cube. I feel that cube is kind of big. Alright, perfect. So I have my cube. Alright, but right now this cube is not interactable. I can't grab it. Alright, so I still need to do some more settings. So the first thing I have to do is to make sure I have a collider in my cube, which is there. Fine. Next thing I need to do is add a rigid body. Alright, so this allows us to set some more settings like the mass of the object. And if it's for gravity, this is if it follows physics. For now, I don't want it to follow physics. So if it's now it doesn't fall, it kind of hangs in the air, and I want kinematic in my object. So then the next thing I need is to add a grab interactable on this object. So make sure your cube is selected, and under your inspector, add component, and I want to type grab. So I can see my XR grab interactable. So this allows me to be able to grab this object in VR. So that is perfect. Alright, so the next thing I want to do now is to work on our teleportation. So we're able to teleport around our scene. Alright, so what we want to do is let's create teleportable areas in our scene. So I want to create a cube and make it like a platform. So let me resize this cube. I'll come here, or I can come over here. So make it a little bit more flat. Then move it to the ground. Alright, perfect. Alright, so now that we have a platform, I'm able to teleport around our scene. The next thing I want to do is to also make sure it has a collider, which is perfect. And I need to add a teleportation anchor on this. So teleportation anchor, this allows us to teleport to the scene. So now this as a setting, so I want to come to layer mask over here and set this to teleport. So this particular object will be on the layer of teleport. Alright, then next I want to come over my configuration. So whenever I go to this place, I want it to always point me up and forward all the time. Alright, so now that is set, so I have this all done. One trick is for me to like use the same settings across multiple objects. Instead of me doing this multiple times, I'm just going to control and duplicate this object. So now this, I've created multiple versions of this same object with all the same settings but in different objects, so that way I can design a lot faster, so I can move around my scene much better here. Alright, next thing I need to do now is let's create a simple UI, right? So for this, let's right click. I want to create an interactable UI in my VR as well. So first of all, I want to create the canvas, right? Then I want to create a button. So there's this button in my canvas. And one issue I've always noticed is whenever you do this, you can see here, I want to move my canvas around, but I can't move it around, right? Because this is grayed out. So the simple solution is before you can move your canvas around, you need to come to canvas. When you have your canvas selected, come over to canvas on your inspector and change the render mode from space screen space to word space. So now if you notice, this is now visible, so now I can move my scene around more now. Alright, so now this is very big, so let's resize this. Alright, it's still too big. Let's see. Alright, here we go, a lot better. And I just want to make sure it's visible on my scene. Alright, here we go. And we need to add the components because we do have the raycaster, so make sure your canvas is selected, components, so just set for tracked divide raycaster, so it sets like a line whenever you're teleporting to that space. Alright, so now we have that selected, and I want to go into my double check some things in my event system. So my XR input is all selected, so that's perfect. My controllers is all set. So now we've created our cube, we've created our transportation of anchors, and we've created the button. So now let's go into VR to see how our scene looks like. Alright. Okay, so with our scene here, let's see what we have done. So you can see now I can interact with my cube. There you see here, I can move it around, and also you can see I can't move around my scene, but I can move here because we have set this place. Then same thing as that as well. Awesome.